Here, this Rashi right here, the Visa is a nar, so it's a young man. She would hide it in her pitcher. When she'd go out to draw water from the well, she would hide some bread in there, so that if you see the poor person by the well, she would give them money. She would give them their food. Shipuya Sachoy says, so they spread it on her. Oh, it says Rashi, Igashur is on the roof of on top of a wall. They put her on top. They tied her on top of a wall, and poured the honey on her. So, I hear the cries of them Kedava, and does Rabbi said Al Iskediva, which we're having to do with this young girl. So that's the story of Sudan and the Mashals on this. You guys got the Mashals, and blah blah blah. But we got a couple minutes. Let's look at some Mashals. So there you go. So today's, you guys know, one of the things I like to do is sometimes if we see something inside that we hear about something, or Rashi quotes something, or that we can go inside and look it up in the source. That's the fun stuff, right? You see Rashi says, oh, it's an let's go inside, open the Gemara, let's run it on our own, so we'll be able to do it by ourselves. Right? You know it. That's the good stuff. So let's see. Kuftaz Amabeh, Amalaf, Amabeh, Chatura.
We started from Amalaf, no?
Yeah, Amalaf. Zaka is time get out of ski to the dog chain with the Russians. Zaka will become
Maharsha. What's Russia's? Genius is there.
It's on the left side, so keep going.
Might as well be tight. Word. We need to know the Mashas.
These are like the grandchildren of Rashi? Or those are supposed to be?
Is the Marsha? Marsha's a Rishon, right? The candles are.
Oh, ice cream. That's going to be nice.
What? You're eating ice cream?
I'm wishing about it.
Like a person sitting there eating ice
Did you only buy you the ice cream?
Perfectly normal behavior.
I want ice cream.
Ice cream. So he posted an idea on ice cream.
Okay, Rabbi.
Yes, sir.
Where should we search?
In Google.
We're talking about the Marsha here.
Who's
Who's the Marsha?
Who's the Marsha?
What he is a Rishon?
The Marsha lived from, good question, from 15...
Afron.
He's an Afraim?
He's an Afrin.
1555 to 1631.
Arizal time.
Right. His mother was the first cousin of the Maharal of Prague.
17.
What'd you say? His mother?
His mother was the first cousin of the Maharal of Prague, the golem maker, right? So he grew up in one town, and then he became a rav in another town, and his mother, he had a yeshiva, and his mother-in-law supported him, and so he put his last name after her, so that it's Shmuel ben Edels is his last name, because his mother's name is Edel Moreno.
Moreno Harav Shmuel.
I think it's Shmuel Edels. Yeah, so that out of reverence for her, respect for her, because she had supported him, and she was able to have a whole yeshiva. I forgot exactly Poland or exactly where. So he took on her name as the last name Edels. So Shmuel Edels.
Prague is famous for the golem. I mean, like the whole town, like
Alter Neutral.
The Alter Neutral. The old news.
they all know about it.
Last forever.
You know, they say that it's made from stones from the temple?
What the shul?
Really?
I've never been there.
Yeah.
I read stories about
There's a
it.
story that
Not just a plain
that's
back,
stones. I think
There's a story like 100 years later. Something there was like it's blocked off, and some people snuck in there,
that
and
was
something was shaking or something. It's pretty
They
good.
died, the Nazis went there, they died, and
Something
their
like
faces
that.
melted like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a
Exactly.
story about the Friedrich Rebbe, because he used to travel, the Rebbe Shah would travel out, some like for health reasons. And so the Friedrich Rebbe writes that a lot of times of his travels, he would go with him sometimes. And it's really funny. One time they went to a place where they were going towards something, and there was a big like junction intersection of people that traveled from all over would end up going to this intersection, and there was like a cave there. There was a big cave, and it was like part of the of this junction, of this intersection, and maybe the cave was like for like cooling off or something like that, but the big cave, and he looks up and he sees like there was graffiti, or people will see like Bob was here, in 1989 or something like that, right? I was here, right? I was there, right?
Yeah.
So he looks up one time and he sees his father's handwriting. It says, "I was here and I studied a Mishnah Peah. I studied a Mishnah Peah here." Like that's Chassidic graffiti. I was here and I studied a Mishnah Peah. Like another time he says that he was walking in somewhere else in Prague, in Vienna, one of these places, in a busy big city. They're walking down the street, and all of a sudden the Rebbe Shop turns around and goes back to the place and said, walks to the end of the block, we're just past, like in the corner of the street, goes, a Yid daven mincha here one time. A Yid daven mincha. So as I say, Kedusha leaves a reshima, right? Kedusha leaves trace elements of it. Not a reshima, like a trace of it, by somebody talk about makif, right? Or like the Temach Tzedek says about things that are makif, that they always contain, like for the mitzvah sukkah, for example. Every time you go in a sukkah, it contains the kedusha from all the other. It contains the reshima of all the other times that you were in the sukkah. So kedusha just grows. It doesn't go. It doesn't doesn't go away. It just adds up. The kedusha in this world, it can be built on. The non-kedusha can be transformed because you can do tshuva on something, and then it's not like kashrus. You actually turn a sin into a merit. But kedusha itself just grows and grows and grows. So you think of all the mitzvahs that the Yidden have done, and all the Torah that they learned, and all the davening, the words of davening, and all the words that we said, just has been added on to. There's so much kedusha in this world for thousands of years of Jews doing it, being engaged and involved in it, that it's huge surplus of, which is why that's
Why do we feel it less and
It's
less?
like radiation.
because we feel
It's like
it's
if you, according to that, we should be feeling kedusha like mad crazy right
well,
now.
so often we do, but
You're
we don't
not.
recognize it. I think we're not either, because when you're born into something, you just don't recognize it as being different than something else. But that's what the Alter Rebbe says. I think it's like at the end of what I'm saying, that all the Giluyim of Mashiach are going to be based on our actions now. So the more kedusha that's going to, can you imagine the more of how that's going to be megale when Mashiach comes, that's going to be revealed, all this kedusha, the more there is, the greater the revelation of that. And so every Jew that ever was involved in the Torah or mitzvahs or davening is going to experience the revelation of not his, but the culmination of the entire Klal Yisrael for thousands of years. You can imagine how great that is going to be. And there's certain places that have they say the Ir HaKodesh, right? It's a city of kedusha. The whole city itself is Kaddish. So we don't see Kedusha there because we don't see something other than Kedusha. Because the whole city itself is Kedusha. So Kedusha just adds on, just builds on it. And it leaves a trace, especially when you do the makif. So for the tzitzis, the talis in your makif, right? So every time you put on your tzitzis, it's a build up of the sensation of the Kedusha from all the other periods of time. Now, that's the thing about God. It's more of a sense, a sensation. Like the Friedrich Rebbe says, it's like a feel. Get the it's like a feel. Like seichel is a verstand. Like intellect is something that's understood with the mind, but God is something that's felt with the heart. So when you look at something, you want to see God because you want to see it with your intellectual eye. But sometimes you have a sensation like you feel something like wow, that was a good davening, or I felt like I was in the presence of something good, that you can't wrap your brain around necessarily. Because you're using the wrong tool to access it. It's the heart. It's a sensation, because you can feel something that you can't necessarily understand. Why is it mazlayo chazi? Why do the people get tremble? By Nebuchadnezzar and by Daniel, the writing on the wall, and like he saw something, but everyone else, all of a sudden, this fear overcame them. Why would the fear of because they didn't see anything? It says they're malasar, which means you can sense it. So you don't see the godliness, but sometimes you have a sensation of that felt very powerful, or that felt very holy or moving, whatever it is. And when you're in the presence of something, and you can't necessarily put your finger on it, but it's sensed, and that's the tool that you use to gauge, or to approach, or to uncover, or to experience, the godliness, and to know about it. So then we say, you have a good feeling, after while you're learning, or after you're learning, or something like that. So go with that, And also, that's the feeling of good and bad. Like you felt happy about something. Not like if you do a mitzvah, you make some effort. You get up in the morning, you go to the mitzvah, right? And then you learn a little chassidus, and you say, I feel good about that. So your answer wants to tell you that's gaiva. That's not. That's yeshustik. Don't what do you don't feel? Don't have that feeling. Don't acknowledge that feeling. Certainly don't think about it and pat yourself on the back for it. Either that's what you're supposed to do anyway, or that's what you're being gaiv and yeshus. Adrabah. The feeling is from the nefesh Bahamas. The nefesh doesn't feel. Doesn't feel hot or cold. I mean, he gets felt by it. It's out there. But the feeling of pride of something, if that's something felt good, that's from the nefesh Bahamas. Now, what does Behemoth do? What feels good, he goes after. What feels bad, he goes against. It's very simple. What hurts, I go away from. What pleases me, I go forward. So when the nefesh Bahamas when you feel good, I made an effort. I went to the mikveh this morning. I went to, I got up for chassidus. I stayed and I slept the whole 3 hours, and I feel and I feel good. As I feel like I did something. I'm proud of myself, that felt really, go with that feeling, because what's happened? The Behemoth says, I want more of that. I experienced pleasure. Let's do that again. I want more pleasure. Yeah, that's what the Behemoth goes. If it feels good, we're going to go, let's do it again. So go with that feeling. Don't let the Yetzer Hara tell you, don't feel pride, don't be yeshustik. Especially these days, these last moments. Go with that feeling, because it'll say, you tell them about the Behemoth, that felt good, didn't it? Let's do that again. The Behemoth says, bring me more. And he will get you up in the morning. And the Behemoth will rise up to do it. The Behemoth, because the nefesh is like he's trying to be like the puppet master. You stick your hand up the tuchus and make the mouth move. You can't do it. That's how he's mishatzim, he's mislavish in the nefesh, and then in the guf after that. Poor guy. He has to mislavish in nefesh Bahamas, and the nefesh Bahamas is mislavish in the guf. So he's trying to be the puppet master, and it's the guf, it's the ox itself that does the things and feels how it feels. If they feel good, it'll try it on again. So go with that feeling. Be proud of yourself that you sat through a shir and experience that pride, because that pride is going to be the impetus that will make you do it again. And now you felt that. You had that sensation. That wasn't an accident. That's because that's kedusha. That's because there's some getlachkeit there. You sense it, and the Behemoth translates as pleasure, as the pleasure principle, and the pleasure principle is to chase after that pleasure principle again. Halavai, this should be the pleasure principle that people chase after.
Wow.
Well, let's experience a good Marav, and then I'll have another good Marav tomorrow night. These are 23 hours in the minute to do whatever, to do other stuff.
Too many activities.
We have too much more for